Egypt's deposed President Hosni Mubarak has denied charges of corruption and ordering the killing of protesters. He was wheeled into court on a hospital bed for the opening day of his trial in Cairo. His lawyers had argued he was too ill to stand. Joining us now is Adel Abdel-Ghafar. Mr Abdel-Ghafar was one of the thousands of Egyptians who protested against President Mubarak's rule in Tahrir Square earlier this year. He's now a research student at the University of Sydney. Adel Abdel-Ghafar, welcome. Why were you so driven that you felt you had to take part in those protests back in January when you were living in Egypt?
Because I'm 32 years old and I've never known another president all my life. And year after year they said there's going to be changes, but there never came changes. And the final thing that the corrupt regime came in the end and faked an election and started murdering its own people, so we had to do something about it.
So what needed to change specifically? What was so wrong with the government?
The government was corrupt, inept locally and internationally, and also faked the elections. And in the same time, they actually murdered their own citizens, you know. And the thing that happened towards the end, that they made the fake parliamentary elections, and that was really the last thing, you know, to win by 90%, and there's so much poverty, so much inequality, it was unacceptable.
Were you there in the square when people were being shot, when the crowds were being fired on?
Yes, I was there. I was beaten by bludgeoned, and I was shot at with rubber bullets and so on. But we were there, and I was just part of millions of Egyptians who had to go and make their voices heard.
Why were you so prepared to go there and put your life in danger, basically?
Because the situation couldn't go through. The president actually intended to give the power to his son after, so that meant another 40 years of more Mubarak rule. So that was really unacceptable, so we had to do something.
But previously, people had been killed, people had been put in jail, they weren't seen again.
That's true. I think what happened is multiple factors. The first thing obviously was the Tunisian uprising, so we saw that happen.
You were emboldened by
the Tunisian uprisings, but also the 2007 and 2006 labour strikes and so on. So there's a bunch of factors that led to this.
Okay, we're just seeing pictures there. Can you believe he actually turned up for this?
I didn't until the end. I thought personally that he was not going to turn up, but he did turn up.
How did you feel as an Egyptian seeing him there actually in court and having lived under his rule for so long?
I felt great. I was in Tahrir on Jan 25 about 190 days ago, and I never thought that I'd actually live to see this day when I see him behind bars like this.
Do you have faith that he will be tried fairly, or do you think he still has connections within the upper echelons of power in Egypt?
I think the trial will be fair. Whether it's fair enough, we'll wait to be seen, but there's so much attention on it, and the military council, they actually gave in to the demands that they actually have this aired. Like before that, they were not going to air it. Now they want to air it, so we're putting more pressure on the regime, the military regime, to move forward with this trial. So
encouraging signs there for you. It's been reported that he could face the death penalty. Do you want to see him put to death?
I don't think he'll face a death penalty because of his age. If anything, he will probably face some time in jail, but he's very old, quite old, so my personal guess is that he will pull a Pinochet and he will not finish to see the end of this trial.
You don't think he'll survive before the end of the trial?
The Egyptian judicial system is quite archaic, 19th century French law. Yeah. So the attorneys, he has a very devilish attorney. He can drag on this trial.
Will you be frustrated with that?
I will be frustrated, but at least I will see his sons put to trial and all the regime henchmen.
How important is this for Egypt?
It's very important because this trial will provide closure for us to move forward. And all the families of the martyrs that died and all the injured are waiting for this. And if this trial does not go smoothly as possible, a lot of the families, a lot of the people will go back to Tahrir Square.
Well, finally, there's still a fair bit of frustration about the situation there now. A lot of the protesters are saying the military regime isn't moving fast enough. How do you feel about the pace of reform now? There are elections in September, I think.
Sure. The pace has been quite slow, but on July 8th, we went back to Tahrir to demand the fast pace, and that was the outcome, to actually have the trial air on, and then the cabinet was changed. So the pace is slow, but I'm cautiously optimistic because people will always come back to Tahrir.
Okay, Adel Abdel-Ghafar, thanks very much.
You're welcome.